Hey Genderqueer gang, this is Kai. My camera's on top of a big ass jar of honey. Cause that's like, I don't know, a good thing to prop my camera up on. So this week's topics are transgender variant places to live and how we combat cisgender privilege. I'm going to cover the easy one first. So, like, friendly places to live. I would think that if you were, especially like and I'm going to speak just for like trans and gender variant people, you're going to want to stick most likely to larger cities. And even then, like, I feel like all bets are kind of off and that it's probably like a regional thing. Because even if places have big like LGB communities, that doesn't mean that like those communities are necessarily friendly or understanding or sensitive to transgender variant people. I've met far too many people in the LGBT community that kind of are like homonormative. They've adopted regular like heteronormative culture, except they just like have sex with people with genitals that look like theirs. And they're totally not sensitive or totally not cool or inclusive to trans people. But that doesn't mean that they're not safe. It just means that you're kind of like excluded. I live in the Midwest. I live in Milwaukee. It's the largest city in Wisconsin. And I haven't really had a good experience. I guess I don't want to like be negative, but my experience has been like downright dreadful, actually, although I have really high expectations. And so I'm moving across the country to the Pacific Northwest to a place called Olympia in July, and I have friends there that are trans, and they said that it's kind of like a mini queer mecca, and it's right in between Portland and Seattle. So it probably is influenced by those places. So I would say definitely places out west. You're probably going to get a better reaction. People are going to be a little more educated. I have friends in Chicago that say that it's totally cool. Dallas and Austin, Texas, I hear are really cool. Minneapolis, Minnesota, supposed to be awesome. Of course, New York. Those are most places that I've heard that it's like, oh, well, right, and like San Francisco, Oakland, like the Bay Area is kind of a no-brainer. I know lots of trans people that flock out there, and there's like a huge trans porn scene, and it's like really body positive to be trans, especially trans masculine out there. So I would say like city centers and even like regionally, like Midwest isn't that great, but then there's like Chicago, so those are all the places that I know of that you could like live. And as far as like how I combat cisgender privilege, I'm not really sure like how to combat it. And I'd even take issue with the word combat, like maybe diffuse or disarm it, but not combat it, because combating it implies that there's like a conflict that's occurring. And I just feel sometimes like so victimized by cisgendered privilege that I like combating something is the last thing I want to do. Like sometimes I want to run and hide. And cisgender privilege comes in like all shape, like totally all shapes and sizes. Right down to people asking me why when I go out in public I can't use the women's bathroom. Like to me, like going out in public and having to strategically choose where I go because there's not a bathroom for me, or people using the wrong pronouns, or people asking about my name or my genitals, or even like people like not relating to me because they don't understand my gender, but them like taking for granted they can relate to others. And how I really combat that or disarm it, I think the most worthwhile thing that I can possibly do is to like have meaningful conversations with people in my life who have the potential to become like sensitive and safe places. And that isn't everyone, but that's like the only way that I've had any success, because most times when I try to combat it with conflict, and even sometimes with meaningful conversation, I end up just feeling really like impotent. Although there are some people in my life who have like kind of like sallied up and have listened and have become open to learning and have taken time to learn. And so I really think it's like about infiltrating people on a case-by-case basis according to what is safe for myself. Like, I'm not going to try to combat privilege if it's going to be at my own expense in a space. And being as a, like, I'm pretty new to being like, or to like being out about being a gender variant, I still feel really vulnerable. But I totally think it's worth it. And I think that probably one of the best things that we can do to combat it, I guess, for